I've been wanting to get Cris Sommer-Simmons in the studio for years and years and years and years and years. And today's my lucky day. She just, we were just talking about how much she flies. She just came back from the Doobies, and of course her husband, Pat, is in the Doobies, and that just was a performance in Florida.
Yeah, they were on the road for, since like May.
But the thing that's amazing, I said, how many miles do you have? Because I keep seeing you in airports. I think I see you in airports so often.
Yeah, we know all the gate people at the Maui airport here and all the flight attendants. So they always say, "Welcome home."
So I said, how many miles do you have?
I only have like 1 million. Pat's like almost 3.
Oh, Pat has 3 million.
Yeah, almost.
Oh my God.
That's just on United, too.
But, you know, he should then be 1K permanently. You can pick your partner to be on 1K, too. So he's got 1K, so you should just get it as
and he picked me because I'm the one that does all that. I book all his flights, so I pick myself.
Yeah. Well, the reason I have you in here is to talk a story about the latest adventure you had. I love following you on Facebook. And I was following all these great stories and pictures of you doing the Cannonball. But I should mention also, I think that was the last time I had a talk with you about your book, was when, now you have 3 books out, but you had that amazing book out that you wrote about the history of women in motorcycles.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was it's called The American Motorcycle Girls, 1900 to 1950, and it's a photographic history of women in motorcycles from the early days up until 1950. The black and white world, I called it.
Well, for those that are listening, I'm going to also go, and I know a lot of people are on Facebook, and I'm going to go Facebook Live so that people can hear your story, because I know that you got a lot of people who love following you and love seeing the story, right, about you doing the cross country. And that was really a rather hard adventure for you, and that's why I kind of really wanted to have you come in and talk about it. Because what's the story behind the story of doing the Cannonball race?
The Cannonball was started in 2010 by a friend of mine named Lonnie Isom Jr. He had been a fan of a guy named Cannonball Baker, who in the teens was one of the first guys to go cross country on a motorcycle. And this was before they had roads and gas stations and even maps.
What year was it?
So like the teens, maybe 1913, 1914. I'm not really a big Cannonball expert, but he kind of inspired Lonnie to say, there's a lot of people who love antique motorcycles in this country. And Lonnie decided to put together this crazy ride, and he had about 46 of us sign up the first time in 2010. And I was one of 2 women to sign up. I had first heard about it, and I told Pat that he should definitely do it. And he said, well, I can't do it. I have to work. He said, well, why don't you do it? And I was like, okay. And I hadn't even ridden anything that old with a foot clutch and a tank shift before, but I figured I would learn. And I did. I learned pretty quick and got out there, and I just loved it. And it was just such a great adventure. And I met amazing people.
How far do you go? Now, where do you start and where do you end on that?
That one was Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. We started on the beach by the monument for the Wright brothers.
Wow. And
we ended up in L.A. 17 days later, in Los Angeles, Santa Monica, on the pier.
Did you have a special route that was particularly chosen for that?
Well, what they do is they have a guy that goes out. He does this thing called the Great Race, and he's a navigator. He's a master navigator. He goes out and navigates the whole route, and you're not on major highways. You're mostly on back roads. And you do about maybe 200 to 300 miles a day.
That's
averaging.
A lot.
It's a lot when you're on something that maybe can go 40 miles an hour, 40,
Seriously,
45.
they only go that up to 40
Some
miles?
of them will do a little faster, but the brakes are pretty bad. So, my bike, I have a 1915 Harley 3-speed.
Wow.
Average speed, she feels good about 45 miles an hour, top speed,
Wow.
On a straight road. Flat road.
And they must not be all shock absorbed up. You must be rather kind of hard
on
there's
not much going on there.
On the riding butt.
I'm feeling okay now. We got done September 23rd. And this last one, this is the 5th one. Wow. So I've done 4 now.
Wow.
But this one was Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon.
What was the weather like across the country?
Beautiful. I mean,
you're lucky.
the weather was probably the best on the 4 that I've done so far. Not too hot. Some cold, and maybe one big rain day where they actually canceled the day because it was just too dangerous to put people out on the highways.
Yeah.
But I think I put my rain gear on maybe once or twice.
And what do? You stay in overnight? Do you camp out? Or
no, we're not camping.
No, you stay in hotels.
I don't camp. No,
I don't either.
I would if I was. I have done that with my motorcycle, but now I'm kind of over that stage. But no, we start at the same hotel every day, or maybe 2 or 3 different hotels, because now the ride has gotten so big. Now there are like 107 riders.
Wow,
it's grown so much, and people from all over the world come on this ride.
And how old are how late's the latest motorcycle?
Well, this year they did 1928 and earlier.
1928.
So Pat, my husband, rode his 28. I rode my 15.
Wow.
And there were people. The earliest bike was a 1911 Excelsior.
And I would have guessed one of the biggest challenges would be the fact that, of course, if your bike breaks down, you're stuck out there when you can't carry all the parts you need with you. I mean, do other people carry parts or
You can carry as much as you can fit on your bike or think you're going to need. People think that our crews ride with us or they follow us in our trucks. The truth is they have to go ahead of us, and they meet us at the hotel. So we only know where we're leaving from in the morning and what hotel we're ending up at.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So we'll meet at the hotel, and our crew will be waiting for us, and we pull in, and it's kind of like a pit stop. They have the tent set up and the tools out, and you have to tell them what you need, or you'd call ahead if you broke down. So what happens is if you do break down, you try to fix it yourself on the road, and your fellow riders can help you. Strangers can help you, but your own crew cannot help you during the day.
Oh,
that's kind of the rules.
That's interesting.
Well, it makes it more of it's a competition, but it's a friendly competition. It's an
Yeah.
endurance ride, So I had a little problem.
You did. I think I'm remembering from Facebook that you actually did have a breakdown.
I did, and I was really trying to get the perfect. I've never been the perfect. I'm not the perfect girl, but
I think you're the perfect girl.
It's okay. I learned a lot about my motorcycle. I've ridden the same one on 3. Let's see, this was the 3rd one on the same that I did on the same bike. So I know the bike pretty well.
1918?
1915.
1915.
Yes.
That's over 100 years old.
She's an old girl. She's 105 now. Mm-hmm.
And it's still running. It's almost a miracle this antique bike is running.
She's a great bike. I just had we've run through so much together. We're very close. Yeah, no, people
really.
laugh at me, but I talk to her, and she takes care of me.
Do you have a name for her?
Her name's Effie.
Effie.
I named it after Effie Hotchkiss, who was the first woman to ride a motorcycle across the United States in 1916, and she rode the same make and model.
Oh, really?
Effie Hotchkiss and her mom. She had a sidecar, and her mom, Avis, rode in the sidecar.
Oh, cool.
This is before they had roads.
Yeah.
And
you have this in your book. You have about
Yes,
that
I wrote about them, and it's pretty interesting that I did this whole book and wrote about all these women, and then I kind of, dove into that world, learning to ride one of those old bikes. It was so kind of surreal for me after spending 3 years working on the bike and doing all the book and doing all the research to become, one of those women that rode those old bikes. And
isn't it strange to be going so slow? I mean,
it
you
is,
think
but
45 miles an hour when you're on the open road seems very strange.
It is. You get used to it, and it kind of feels fast on these bikes because you feel every bump. It's not like you can really just take your, look around. I mean, you can look around, but you really have to watch the road, because if you hit a bump, you feel every little bump, and you could fly, can take you right off the seat.
Wow.
So
you really have to be paying attention.
You have to pay attention.
You're not just cruising.
I do both. I cruise and I pay attention.
You get that down.
Yeah.
And how long did it take to do the whole thing?
It's 17 days. We have 1 day off in between. Our day off was in Sturgis, South Dakota this year. And Pat rode as far as Sturgis with us. And we had another guy on our team, Dave Minerva, who's a riding friend of ours, who's from Joyce. And our mechanic's from Joyce, because it was like the East Coast and the West Coast team, It was Team Effie and friends.
Do you lose a lot of the people along the way because the bikes break down and they can't fix them?
Some of them. I mean, I don't know how many finished this time. We had a couple that just broke and they had to give up, Yeah. We ended up, I had a problem with my magneto on day 2. I had some oiling issues with my bike. I think she's just getting tired,
Well, 105 years old.
Yeah, we've done some, we had another magneto. But I lost, about 100 miles that day.
Oh, wow.
But it's okay. They pick you up in a sweep truck that comes behind. So if you can't fix it, you're not left out there by yourself. They'll pick you up and put you on the sweep truck, and then you ride the bus in, the bus of shame. It's okay. The pressure was off. I just had fun after that, and I had fun anyway. I'm competitive, like I said, and there were 3 other women this time, so it was pretty fun, and they're all younger than I am, and they all got perfect scores, and I was kind of bummed, but I was happy for them. I was really happy for them.
You've been inducted into the Motorcycle Hall of Fame. Is that what it is?
Yes.
3 times?
Yes, 3 different Halls
I mean,
of Fame.
that's enough to prove yourself right there.
Yeah, I know. It's all good. It's okay. I didn't plan on it.
But get a lot of thumbs up on that. But you've done a lot. I mean, when you were out, didn't it amaze you how powerful your books were? Because you did a lot of book signings. Now, your first book was actually, was it based on Pat? It's Pat's, but it was called Pat's Motorcycle.
Patrick
right?
Wants to Ride. Yeah,
Patrick
it was kind of based on my kids.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, fiction too. A little kids, picture book about a little boy who wanted to ride who wasn't big enough. And, I actually sold self-published, I think I sold over 25,000 copies of that book.
That's awesome.
It took me 20 years to sell them all. I had them in the garage, but they're all gone now.
I have a garage full of books.
Yeah, they're all gone. So now I have the American Motorcycle Girls, 1900 to 1950. I still have some of those.
That's a coffee table book.
That's a coffee table book.
Really nice gift. It's beautiful, beautifully
Thank you.
done. That was first class book.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's kind of my life's work in that book. But I'm not done yet. I have some other things I'm working on. But
Michael Gagney says hello.
Oh, hi, Mike.
But and he gave you a thumbs up and heart on that
great.
one. But it's people may not know, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing a book, and especially that book was hard because there's so many pictures, and it's expensive when you publish with pictures. It's a whole other story.
Well, I had a publisher.
Yeah, that's good
for that book.
Yeah,
for
that
the
helps.
big book. It did
and
help.
Then you did another book after that.
I did a book called The Motorcycle Cannonball Diary. After my first Cannonball attempt in 2010, I
Did
kept
you keep
a diary.
a journal every night?
I did, and I
write?
was so tired, and sometimes I just would talk into my phone. I don't know where I am. And then I would ask. I had an all-girl crew on that one. I wanted to make a statement, so I had a girl mechanic, a girl crew chief, and Pat joined up day 4 to help drive the van and help us. But it was kind of a cool statement. To have an all-girl team on the Cannonball. There hasn't been one since, so it's kind of cool.
That is very cool, actually. And when you do these Cannonballs, I mean, it takes a huge block of time and effort. I remember you getting ready. It was weeks and weeks before you were all gearing up and getting ready for this, because it takes a lot of planning.
Yeah, I do it every other year. I think that's probably why. It's just so much preparation with the bikes, and the first time I did, I worked out with the trainer. This time I didn't. I just went for it.
How do you work out for a motorcycle race?
You lift weights. You work on your core. I mean, there isn't much. There's no suspension on the bikes. I laugh because I tease people. This time how I worked out was I slept as much as I could and I ate as much as I could, because sometimes you don't have time to, if you have a problem with your bike, you're not going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You're getting up at 6 or 5.
Most people gain weight when they do a trip, and you actually lose weight.
Oh, this is a Cannonball diet. You lose I lost about 8 pounds this time. I think I put it back on because I went on with the doobies then.
Oh, God, yeah. That's amazing. But on these things, when you get used to it and you get in the zone, I mean, it's not like a quick thing. It's a long-term, go for it kind of thing. Do you start getting to the point going, I think I saw 1 or 2 posts going where you were just getting weary,
you get really tired. It's endurance. I learned what that word meant. But it's also my happy place. I mean, when I get out there, my favorite time of the day, believe it or not, is when I would pull away from the hotel and all the people. I love people. I love all you guys coming out and, saying hi at the stops. But my favorite time is when I'm just out there on the road. We do a lot of back road riding. We don't go through a lot of cities. That's the thing about the when you said you did a travel show, I thought, well, people need to get off those freeways and get off onto the back roads. And it's really the best way to see the country. And my daughter did a little interview with someone afterwards, and what she said was really, made me feel good. She says, my mom has probably seen more of the country from the back roads than most people will ever see. Because we start out, sometimes we'll start out in like Atlantic City or Daytona Beach or some, Portland, Maine, where there's people.
So there's small towns.
Yeah, we go through we get off the back roads, we go through the mostly 2-lane roads. You go through some really small towns, and people are just so happy to see you. They come out and line the streets, and they'll,
Seriously?
Oh, yeah, it's
so
really
they have
fun.
press ahead of time?
I think they do some press ahead of time, because there was usually some small town, like sometimes the editor of the paper will come out,
Oh, really? And you get,
yeah, and then we went through a lot of Amish country. I think we were in Indiana that day, and we went by this school, and all these little Amish kids were all lined up on the fence, waving with their little hats and bonnets.
Oh, cute. Mike Jensen says, 2018 was my first CB. Thanks for sharing it with me.
Oh.
Laurie Struck de Silva says, Chris. Rich Version gives you a thumbs up, and Darlene Jones sounds like a good plan. Got some thumbs up on. So when you have those moments, see now, if you weren't doing a race like that, when you have those moments, you might actually stop and take pictures and talk to people. But in a situation like this, you got to do snapshot in your mind moments, right? You got to do those.
See, you got that, because a lot of people will stop and take pictures. But I'm kind of in my mindset where, okay, I mean, my teammate Dave Minerva will be, happy I said this, because I'm like, Dave, we can't eat lunch, because if we stop to eat lunch and we break down, I want to bank that hour. Because we can stop and eat lunch, but I don't usually stop because I'm kind of nervous if we stop and then we have a problem. We're going to run out of time because you have to be in by a certain time, or you don't you lose points.
Oh my gosh, no, that's competitive.
I'm the queen of gassing up and eating at the same time. I keep bars in my pocket.
Seriously,
There's a picture I have that someone took that sent me, and then I'm talking with this other girl, Jody Perowitz, I just love her to death. She's another woman writer. And I'm sharing my cup of oil with her, and I'm eating at the same time. We're at a gas stop.
Oh, my God.
So that's another thing. When you stop for gas every 50, 60 miles, you have to drain the bottom of oil at the bottom of the crankcase. So I had to get under my bike.
And drain the...
Yeah, I'm always filthy, dirty, and whatever, So.
Well, Amanda says hi from New Zealand. And Michael Gagnon says, wear a GoPro sometime. That's a great idea.
A lot of people do, and I just haven't. And I'm just, I don't know. I guess I should do stuff like that. But
well, it would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, some of the writers have, and I'm actually working. I've been working on a Cannonball film for about 8 years now.
So how do you do that with your crew? I mean, how do you? I
have a girl that came along on the first Cannonball. Her name is Toast,
and
she's a filmmaker, and her and I've been working.
She doesn't
on
ride a bike. She just takes.
She rides, but she didn't ride along. She was taking pictures and taking movies and stuff, and we've got interviews, and we're kind of We thought, she broke both her arms, so she couldn't edit for a while, but she's doing okay now.
But you know what? It would make a great documentary.
Yeah, somebody did some stuff this year. They did some filming. There's been a couple little things. There was one done a couple years ago that came out that was pretty good. This is kind of like, it's not all about me. It's kind of like my vision of from my angle. But there's also interviews with other people, and so it kind of gets the flavor from the very beginning.
What are you going to, every documentary has a theme. What do you have in mind as your intent what you're trying to convey in this documentary?
Just share how, I think this Cannonball just changed my life, and just...
Really?
I think it's just overcoming your fears and, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things and challenging yourself, and I mean, I don't have to do these.
You don't,
but I sure like it.
You don't put a rain on it. Hi, Aunt Cris from Bridget.
Oh, hi, Bridget.
Bridget, yeah.
Glad you guys are okay down there. They had a hurricane down in Alabama.
Oh, God, you have people all around the world. So you do connect with people. I mean, because, of course, through Facebook they follow you, but then do some of your Facebook friends all around the country come out and try to say hi to you?
Oh, yes. They come out and every time, at every stop. I've met so many awesome people.
Really?
Yeah. It's very.
And that's when you go to the hotel, or how do you?
At the lunch stops, because they're all published. They publish where we're going to be at the finish line, and sometimes they're there in the morning at the.
But when you you skip your lunch stop, see, then you miss all that.
Well, sometimes we have to stop, because if it's at a Harley shop or something that's a planned stop, then we have to stop. And I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind meeting people. Sometimes I'm a little tired and I'm a little cranky, and
you're
I'm
probably
getting
a little
old
muddy.
And I'm always dirty.
Sometimes dirty, yeah, full of oil.
And you see the pictures of me, always like,
Hey, because you do. I mean, you're out there and you're seeing it the old-fashioned way. It's not like you're really on the highway. It's a different feeling when you're on the small.
Yeah, we don't really know where we're going. I mean,
who sets up that
there's a guy named John Clausen that goes out and does the route, and he'll go out and do it twice, because the directions they give you, it's like hieroglyphics. It's like the Great Race. You go out and it'll have a signal, turn right at the third stop sign.
Oh, you don't have...
One time we had like 13 roundabouts in a row, and I was like, I didn't count, So, yeah, a left turn on Route 2, and then sometimes you feel like you're going in circles, but sometimes you might be, but you always end up where you're supposed to end up, but you don't really know. And people go, hey, did you
is it GPS driven? Do you have a GPS?
No, we're not allowed to have GPS.
You don't have GPS?
You get a route sheet 45 minutes before you leave in the morning. It's on a scroll of paper, and you have to wind it into this little box on your handlebars. That's hopefully mine's waterproof.
So you have like a map, an old-fashioned map.
I should have brought one to show you, but yeah, it's a paper map, and I've saved them all. I could probably paper my garage with them, but it'll tell you where to turn, and it tells you like landmarks. It tells you where the gas stops are. So if you need gas,
wow,
a
lot of people don't even know how to use maps anymore. You know that there's
maps.
a lot. Everyone does GPS.
I've been
now.
a map freak since I was a little girl. I just love
are
maps.
you?
I love
Okay.
atlases.
Yeah, there's people that do like
Such a
maps.
nerd.
No, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
So you get it. It's almost like a little like a treasure map. It sounds like, but you get it's just a page.
It's
long.
about 12 pages long,
Oh,
and you have to scroll it while you're riding. You have to turn it.
Oh my gosh!
In the 2016 Cannonball,
but you're holding on to the bike.
It was raining so hard, the water was dripping in my map, and I was like, I was all by myself, and I thought, my map's going to tear. And I'm not going to know where I'm at. I'm going to be lost. I'm off if I get off the course. They're not going to find me.
And no GPS, which is unheard of.
No.
So what does that mean? You do still take your phone. You
can take your cell phone and you can turn on and tell them, I'm broke down at direction number 18, and mile marker such and such, And you have an odometer. There's an odometer reading on the side of the map. It'll tell you the instruction number, and then what odometer reading you're supposed to be at. But, of course, I don't have an odometer because I never use that fancy stuff. I tried to put one on this year, like a bicycle
those
one.
Fancy things like odometers, my gosh, those newfangled ideas.
I have a 1915 speedometer. That speedometer was pretty right on the speed because I go through those little speed traps, and I could tell I was right on. But the odometer, I just do landmarks, and I haven't gotten lost very often.
So is the group all together when it starts out and then it kind of spreads out throughout the day? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, we the Class 1 bikes would leave earlier. That's single cylinder, single speed. There's about 4 or 5 of them on this ride. Then Class 2 was multi-cylinder, single speed, and they would leave 15 minutes after the Class 1, and I've always been in Class 3, which is the most popular. So we had about 70 or 80 bikes all leaving at the same time. We were kind of like, okay, we'll let them all go.
Yeah.
All the smoke and the oil and,
And the noise.
And a lot of noise, yeah. My hearing's good, though. But
Leslie Ann Heinzen says hello.
Hi.
And you got a lot of people that are loving hearing your story. So you got to wear the helmet, but do you try to wear an antique helmet, or how does that work?
No, I used to wear. I didn't used to wear a helmet when I was younger, but I've got a little wiser as I got older, and I do wear a half helmet sometimes. But I got into wearing a full face helmet because of the weather. The thing about the Cannonball, the weather just beats you up. Endurance wise, the wind,
the wind, and bugs, right?
And rain. Let me tell you, I've been through some rain where I had it going up my nose, and some really, really heavy rain. But when you have the full face, I just feel a little safer. But I can open mine up all the way if I need to, if it's hot out.
Do you wear leathers?
I always wear leathers and armor sometimes under my leathers, and tall boots.
And have you had any accidents on this?
I had an accident when I was 18, and I was on the back. I had broken my leg in 2 places.
Ouch.
And I have some road rash and stuff from that.
Yeah.
But I haven't...
but not on the Cannonball?
Knock on wood. No, I haven't really dropped my bike in many years. And, I just know the bike so well, and I would never drop her.
How many bikes do you have?
A couple. I have
just a couple?
I get a couple.
I saw you taking it home, and you kind of were sad to put her away.
Yeah,
Alfie,
I had to drain her oil.
I had to drain her oil. Oh no, it's all over now.
Yeah, she's in California. I'll ride her again. And I got to work on her.
So she's in California.
I actually blew a hole in the muffler the day before the finish, and there's a big hole in the muffler, so it sounds really loud right now. So we my husband's so sweet. He already ordered me a new one. So we're going to put that on. Yeah, people make. That's the thing about the Cannonball. It has resurrected the parts companies. There's guys that are making parts for these old bikes, and it's so cool. I just love the whole history in the bikes, and every time I see an old bike, I always think about, well, who rode that, and it's got a story there somewhere,
Well, there is a story, and you think about how authentic it was, and the nerve, you said that woman that had the sidecar, what was her name again? Elfie.
It was Effie and Avis, her mom. Yeah, I mean, to go across the country, they had the little pots and pans and their camping gear and their rain ponchos, and I think she had a gun, too.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage, and so you're kind of recreating that in a very authentic way,
Well, the first time I did the Cannonball in 2010 from Kitty Hawk, we started on the beach, and I took a little jar of water from the Atlantic Ocean, and I took it to the Pacific Ocean, just like Effie did.
And
I have a picture of Effie in my book taking the water, and so I did the same thing.
Wow.
But when I got to the Pacific, I was like, I can't dump it all out.
No.
So I dumped some of that, and then I
Yeah.
just scooped some up, and so I mixed the two oceans together. I have this little jar on my desk. I still have it.
How wonderful.
I don't know what it would be like to have those two oceans mixed, but it was weird.
You know, I know someone actually was trying to do that all around the world and mix the waters and then take them all up to Tibet. When I was in Tibet, someone had actually carried waters from all the different oceans. There is something about that, because the water and the energy of the ocean is alive. And so when you mix them all together,
cool.
you're bringing that energy all
a good
together,
thought.
right?
And, you know, this time I didn't do the water, but I brought my mom's ashes with me.
Oh,
a little
my
thing
gosh.
with my mom. And then one of my best
'Cause she
friends.
just passed away this
She
last
passed
year.
away in 2016 after the 2016 Cannonball, about a couple weeks after I got done with the Cannonball. But she loved the whole idea of the Cannonball. And It was
Really?
just,
And she didn't ever limit you,
just
did she?
Never.
Yeah.
Never. My mom was just like, you know,
I
100 miles an hour. Just live it.
Well, I
You know?
remember Pat Jr. wrote a song for
Yeah.
her.
Oh,
And-
it's called All the Way.
Yeah.
That's
and
her,
it's a
yeah.
lovely song.
Yeah.
It shared a beautiful sentiment of how you know he learned from her. You know,
They're
and he
very
respected.
close.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of those songs sitting on the porch with my mom because she
Yeah.
lived with us for a couple of years here. And then the last year of her life, she did go back to California.
Darlene Jones says she's in Kitty Hawk right now.
Hi,
Says
Darlene.
hi from Kitty Hawk. I mean, but there is something. It's an amazing life you have because you live in Haiku. You've got a farm. It's a working farm. You actually grow things on the farm.
My son
You see, he takes
grows
care.
a lot of his
he
own.
grows
Yeah,
a lot
they
of his.
feed us.
And
a
you
lot.
have animals, you know, and
A couple old animals now.
and you got,
Our donkey passed away last
I know,
week. I'm
it's
still
so sad.
kind of sad to be
So
home. He's not
sweet
here,
looking
but
that picture.
he
You
was
might get
awesome.
another one. You might get another.
never
You know, there's a
know.
lot.
You never know.
There's a
Someday.
lot of wild donkeys out there that need homes. They aren't miniature ones, but
That's
there are
true.
donkeys that need homes, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of wild horses that need homes still too.
Yeah.
There really are. But you have that, and you know, there's a farm, and you go on the road a lot. I mean, about what 50% of the time, or you go
I
on the
think
road.
Pat's doing about 80 shows a year. 80. They slowed down quite a bit from the old days, but yeah, I try to go with them. You know, at least half the time I'm with them. I'd say.
Well, Kathy Takushi from Captivating Journeys, our sponsor, says, "Hi, Chris."
Hi, Kathy.
So when you do these whole things, it's like you have a different. It's like a different you. There's a different you come out. Is there another side of you that comes out when you're doing these adventures on your Cannonball runs versus when you're taking care of the farm at home with the grandkids?
I think that's my time. I think when I'm out there, I mean, I think about everybody at home, and I'm always calling home and checking in, but I think it's just that part of myself that I've kept. You know, I mean, I am a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm a grandmother, and, you know, I'm a lot of things, but I've always been a motorcyclist. I always tell people when I had my kids, I didn't cut my hair and I didn't sell my bikes. So it's been a part of my life since I was 9 years old. So
Wow.
I really
didn't-
love motorcycling.
So how
Yeah.
did, and you get a lot of highs, Bobby Hutchinson and Michael Skepik and,
Wow.
and Fly Brood and other people saying hi to you.
Hi, Fly. I met you when I was 17. Fly's one of my oldest friends.
Oh, really?
So from motorcycling.
So where,
you know.
where in you now? See, I have to think it's from another lifetime or something. I mean, there's this thing, this energy. How could you have started so young with bikes? That's amazing.
I've
What-
had the wanderlust.
Is that it?
Okay, my mom told me this story that when I was 4, all the other little girls wanted to be ballerinas and all that. I wanted to be a truck driver. So I guess there's something there. I don't know. I've always liked just the feeling of being free. And,
I love it.
and being
Well,
on an old
freedom-
motorcycle. I mean, to me,
freedom's
it's
just
like
another
it's-
word for
exactly
nothing left to lose.
That's
right?
me. I'm,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
don't fence me in.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's very prairie-like, you know.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be a truck driver, and you obviously didn't make it to the truck driver status, but
Not
then,
yet.
but then you did make it to the motorcycle. Did you see? Or did you follow it? Did you look at pictures of it?
I actually, my stepfather had a bike, and he would start that thing, and I would run out of the house, and I'd just, let's go.
Wow.
Take me. And he would take me.
Uh-huh.
And then when I was about 14 or so, I wanted to get my own bike, and my mom said, okay. I mean, who would do that?
At 14 years old?
Yeah,
So
and
just
I-
to ride around the driveway or ride?
Yeah, I would ride. Well, we lived on a street when there was like an alley, and then there was like a big Wonder Bread parking lot. So I would go, I didn't have a driver's license, but
I
I'd go to the
remember Wonder
parking
Bread.
lot
That was
and ride,
L.A.,
yeah.
wasn't it?
No, it was
Okay.
actually Chicago area,
Chicago.
Chicago suburbs. I'm from Chicago.
Did you have that smell of the Wonder Bread baking?
Yeah, I don't really eat that stuff.
Oh, I know, but
I ate a
the
lot of
smell
Twinkies growing up. They were 13 cents. It was a day-old Twinkie place over there.
Oh, they're still making them.
But it was
I
a
think.
big lot, and I remember my stepfather taught me how to ride it, and I just
At 14?
just took to it.
At 14?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And
What was your first bike?
It was a Yamaha Twin Jet 100.
As if she would forget.
It was a really fast little bike. I remember there was a boy,
always remember
and there was a boy in the next
bike.
town who challenged me to a drag race.
Oh, no.
And I was like, he was so cute, and I thought, if I beat him, he will hate me forever.
You didn't let him win?
No, he won. Yeah,
you let him win?
Of course. He was so cute.
Oh, no. What's wrong with that?
But I rode for a few years, and then when I got into high school,
So you rode way before Pat. Pat did.
I think I did.
Yeah.
You know, I think I did. I think Pat might have rode when he was...
How did you and Pat meet?
I met him at a motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota in 1989.
Oh, my gosh.
He was there doing a concert for a benefit for muscular dystrophy through Harley Davidson, and I was friends with some people from Harley because I had a women's motorcycle magazine that I had co-founded in 1985.
You did?
The world's first motorcycle magazine for women called Harley Women.
I
and
love
Harley
it.
embraced us and let us use the name.
Wow.
And bought ads, and I had friends at the company, and they introduced me to Pat. They said, come to the show, and I was like, oh, I'm working.
Really?
I was a single mom with 2 little kids, and they said, no, you have to come, and we're going to have food. And we were like, food? What time should we be there? That's a true story, actually. And then I met Pat, and I interviewed him for my magazine, and I just thought he was so darn nice, and we just clicked.
And he was riding a bike. What kind of bike then?
He didn't have he had bikes then, but he was on the road with his band. But
that was before the Doobies.
He was with the Doobies.
Oh.
He was on the road with the Doobies. That's when I met him. He was doing a show. But we went out for dinner on my bike, and we saw a shooting star.
Oh, it was meant to
It
be.
was very strange.
Yes.
But yeah,
Did you know? I mean, that.
I kind of, I don't know if he knew, but I kind of knew he was kind of special. You know, I gave him my phone number. And he called me. I'll never forget. I was on my way home, and I was in a truck stop in the pouring rain, and I called him from a payphone. And he was super nice. But we get along great.
So you've been together all these years?
29 years. Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. 29 years. And some of the cool things you have experienced together is not just, of course, traveling on the road, but sharing the motorcycle moments, right? The bike moments.
That's really what brought us together was the motorcycle stuff. You know, I think my bike was better than his. I don't know. I was teasing about that. But, yeah, we've been together a long time, and we're just motorcycle freaks. I mean, we talk about it every day. We're always planning our next adventures. And I was like, man, if I win that Mega Millions, I'm going to buy her some more bikes. And, give away a lot of money, too. But we were like about that last night.
Oh, yeah, we don't have those here. But
I didn't win.
Yeah, you didn't win. Well, that's a good thing because they'd be bothering you left and right if you did.
God,
they'd find you.
imagine.
They'd find you out, and you'd be in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It'd be all over.
Well, one person did win, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then some others on top of that.
Yeah.
But this is a very interesting lifestyle, and it's kind of really a unique lifestyle to you. That you've been able to really define yourself through your love of the motorcycles, and literally your whole life has been kind of created around that. You met Pat through it, and
I met my first husband too. I met my first husband. I was 17. I met him through a friend of mine who was dating his boyfriend, his best friend, and she said, "I bet this guy really should meet him." I go, "Yeah, whatever." She goes, "He has a Harley." I was like, "He's got a Harley. What's he look like?"
So at that time, a lot of women were not on bikes, and now there
Not
are
really.
more women on bikes.
Way more
right?
women on bikes. It's
Right.
so awesome to go out to an event and see so many women riding. Every group of bikes have women riders in them. It's amazing. I just love it.
And obviously your first bike wasn't a Harley. When did you become a Harley aficionado?
I got my first Harley when I was 19.
And then that was love. You liked the Harley for why? What was the
I just love I can still remember the first time I heard one. I was 13, and my neighbor in the corner had a Sportster, and I remember hearing it start up, and I ran out of the house, and I was like, "What is that?"
The sound.
I can still remember.
It was the sound.
Yeah, I can still remember. It was awesome.
What was the sound that attracted you? The deepness?
It's loud, and it's
like-
just it's something about the sound of a Harley. It's just like nothing
I've been
else.
seeing more and more Sunday bikers doing Sunday trips around the island. Do you ever do the Sunday bike?
I've gone
thing?
out to Hana. I've gone around,
Yeah.
with the Kula and places like that. But
It's
to be honest
all
with you,
right to
I'm
Hana.
more of a long distance rider, which is strange that I ended up
It
in
is.
Maui.
It is, because even you did
Yeah.
more in one day than you could have imagined. You were doing 6 hours in a day?
I've done before the antique bikes. I was doing like 800 or 900 mile days on my bigger Harley, newer Harley.
800 or 900
Yeah.
miles?
With my friend. Yeah,
Wow.
easily.
Where'd you go to and from? And that's
Just
a lot.
I rode from Chicago to Seattle when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
And many times, and just all kinds of places.
So you've
know.
seen the world, and really through your motorcycle.
I think that's a cool way to see the country. Like I was saying about getting off the main. I've done the highways too, but getting off the main roads. I mean, the farmers cutting the grass, and the cows that stink really bad, and it's just something. The rain smells. I mean, everything. Your senses are very aware.
Do you feel like you're kind of back in time sometimes when you're doing the back?
Oh, when I'm on the old bike and I don't see anybody, I ride by myself quite a bit because my team. Last year, my whole team broke down. I was the only one left on my team, so I rode a lot by myself. And I would be on these roads, and I wouldn't see a car for a while. And I would say, wow, this could be like
100 years ago.
It could be, but no, this is pavement. I'm not in the dirt. But, yeah, it's kind of cool, just to experience, the country from an old bike. It's different.
And even when you do their 800-mile ones, Chicago to Seattle's a lot. I mean, that's a long, long ride.
Yeah, I've been out on a lot of those rides over the years. And to me, it's just like, getting away from everything. And, I've gone out where I just carry everything in my saddlebags, a couple pairs of pants and, stuff like that.
And you buy stuff along the way that you need? Because you can't carry that much.
Well, I just wear dirty clothes.
Do you carry...
I would have saddlebags on my bike and stuff
but not
like
a backpack.
That.
You're not carrying... You're not riding with a backpack.
Once in a while. But the Cannonball, I have a suitcase that goes ahead with the crew. My crew,
that's good.
We have hotels and stuff, But the best thing about, one of the things about the Cannonball is just the friendships with the other riders and the camaraderie. I mean, the people from the first Cannonball, we're family. And every Cannonball, you're family because you go through so much together and you get to know people. Like, you'll be lost and you'll meet some other guy who's lost. Hey, which way is, I don't know, follow me. You just meet people and you become friends and from all different walks of life. And I know there's some different, political views and all that. All that goes to the side and you just become this family of traveling gypsies who just want to get across the country together. And you want to help everybody. You want everybody to go.
It's kind of authentic, isn't it? You kind of drop all the...
Mm-hmm.
You got a message here from Tony Pansandbelli.
Oh, hi, Tony.
I knew you back in the 80s and reconnected with you at Cannonball, learned so much more with this interview. That's interesting.
Yeah,
but it is a family, and it is,
right.
Because it's got to be interesting because, I grew up with rock and roll and everything and going to a lot of concerts and having interviews. But there's that rock and roll lifestyle. There's people that love music, but then there's a lot of the stuff that isn't so much fun either, being around the music stuff, there's a lot of it that's not as authentic as riding a bike across a country, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of break down the barriers. And
when you're on a bike, it doesn't matter
who you are or what you are.
I'm out there with a guy who's a doctor, brain surgeon or something, and you're out there and you're both, you're on, it's a level
even
field.
Keel, yeah.
It doesn't matter how much money you have, or
Yep.
maybe you have a nice bike, but you're riding an old bike. Your bike can break down as easily as mine can break down. So
it's a leveling field.
Yeah, it's very humbling for sure. Also.
Yeah, and it's so much a part of your life. I can't see. You're very young at heart. Do you get to the point of going, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing? Do you ever get to that point?
The last Cannonball, I was so tired in 2016. I was like, never doing this again, never doing this again. And everybody's asking me, well, is this the last one? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, is it? They retired my number because after 3 Cannonballs now, they retire your number. And I would be...
Oh, my gosh, really?
Yeah. The only year I didn't ride was 2012 because I didn't think I had the right bike, so I didn't ride. But they gave my number to someone else, and I think I cried a little.
I don't think they should give your number away. That's your number.
No, that's mine now. I earned it now, so I keep
earned
it forever. But I don't know. We don't know when the next one, it'll be 2020. We don't know the route. I'm saying I'll wait till I hear about where it's going to be. And if it's somewhere like this one, I wasn't even sure I was going to do 2018.
Because
I was just tired, I was like, I don't know if I need to keep doing this.
Well, and you got your grandkid,
and it's really hard on your body.
It is very hard on the body.
I'm sore for weeks after
Seriously.
I do this ride. People have no idea. The first week, it felt like I had a knife in my back. I was having spasms in my back the first week. But, I still had fun. Yeah. And then it died down. But, I don't know if I'll do it again. I don't know. I might not. That's like, we're done.
It's like, is she going to
run?
Well,
maybe you're done.
Is she going to run for president or not? She won't say.
I can't announce yet. But who knows? I don't know. Pat's like, well, if you're going to ride it again, maybe you should just go for a win, ride something really old. I'm like, yeah. Like some of those bikes are so hard to ride, though.
Why would you go? You're on a really old one, 1915.
Yeah, but to win, you have to be up to get the points. You have to ride it like a single cylinder because then you're up.
Oh, they give you more points.
Yeah, but no, they don't get more points. But if it's a tie, the breaker of the tie goes to the age of the bike first of all, and then the age of the rider. So the age of the rider part I get that
So you
down
get
pretty good. There's a couple older people than me.
But how old was the oldest bike running?
1911 this year. But
Well,
the
you're
guy who won
close.
rode a 14, but it was a single. And I'm so glad he won, my friend Dean.
What, yours is a double?
Mine is a two-cylinder,
Two-cylinder. His
three-speed,
was-
so it was a different class. So
Uh-huh.
the best I could have done might have been in the top 20.
Uh-huh.
I think I ended up like 65 because I missed a day and a half, but that's okay.
But you'd have to get a different bike, and you know your bike, and you love your bike.
I
You
do
wouldn't-
love my bike.
Yeah.
I think I wore her out a little bit. We have to work on her some more. I have 11,000 miles on that girl.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of miles.
And those
on
are
one
all
bike.
your miles.
Yes.
Wow. So, and it's kind of surprised you actually don't have more bikes because you obviously love your.
We have more bikes. I
Oh,
mean,
you
I have
do?
a 34, that one I rode in 2012. His name is Buddy. And he's a nice bike.
And what's the youngest bike in the Cannonball that you can have? What's the age?
This year, it's as young as you want it. I mean,
really?
you got to be able to make it over the mountains. I was talking to the guy who rode the 1911 bike, Excelsior, and I said, what is it like riding that? He says, it's like sitting on an air compressor. So, I mean, they have, the routes are pretty tough. You have to go up some mountains. And this one, I think we only went up 6,600 feet. We went into Glacier National Park.
Oh, wow.
Another reason I wanted to do this one, I got
Wow.
goosebumps. See, I'd never been to Glacier National Park.
And it's beautiful, huh?
It's gorgeous. And, I don't like heights. And I thought, I was already behind in the points, and I said, well, if you don't want to go up to the road to the sun, the name was just intriguing. I thought, what is this?
Yeah.
I Googled it. It looked really scary. There was
Yeah.
like, I'm terrified of
Drop-offs,
heights. There were
cliffs.
drop-offs and no guardrails and just some. But, I thought, well, I've ridden to Hana. I've ridden around the other
Yeah.
side of the island, all that.
Yeah, but it's roads you know.
Yeah,
versus roads you
that's
don't know.
true. And
Yeah.
so I thought, well, I'm not going to do it. So I got the directions to go the other way, and I'd only been lose 11 miles. I thought, well, I'm already down in the lower part anyway. What do I care? But I got to the first gas stop, and I went, I'm going.
You're going for
I'm
it.
going for it. So I told my friend who had the directions, I said, don't lose me. I don't know where I'm going, so I had to follow you. But we went up there, and it was just like being in a postcard. It was just
Was
so
there still
beautiful.
wildflowers? Was there?
It was starting to turn to fall. And granted, they had just opened the road 2 days before. It was closed all summer because of the fires. There were
Oh,
fires up
right.
north, and they were almost in Canada. That's how far north we were. But and then we went up there, and it was just so beautiful. I was so happy that I went. I was just smiling all the way down, and it started hailing a little bit on the way down. It got
My
a little
gosh.
cold, a little rainy. Had to put the rain gear on.
So when you're getting out there and you're getting hailstorms and you're soaking wet, right? I mean, you don't stop and change your clothes. You just keep going with your.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Yeah,
You
the
don't
last
sta-
see, that's like 2016. That's why I didn't know I was going to do it again, because 2016 we had 4 days of that
of pure rain.
rain all day going through the Grand Canyon. I was like, there it is. I'm
Oh,
not
my
stopping.
God.
It's all fogged in.
Wow.
I was standing at a gas station filling up my bike, and 6 inches of water over my boots.
Oh my God! And but you have your rain gear and everything on, but
Yeah,
you get
still
soaked
Oh
anyway.
yeah, you can't. You're not going to stay
I mean,
dry.
don't you get sick sometimes from riding that like that?
I was getting a cold last time, but then we have our friend Vicky, who's Tony Pan, who just texted in there. His wife Vicky's a wonderful nurse, and she rides along with us and takes care of everybody. And when it's hot out, she'll bring in, like, are you hydrated? Some guy went down in a ditch one year and he hurt himself, and he was going to get back on his bike. And she said, I'm going to check you. And, I'm not getting back on the bike. He had ruptured his spleen.
Ooh.
So she saved his life. So Vicky's been on the Cannonball. I think this was her third one.
How nice.
Riding along with us.
That's
And we have a retired neurologist, Doc, who also rides with us, who's a rider. And they just, not in the professional sense where they're more
But they keep
volunteer.
an
They
eye.
have to do volunteering because of, legal issues or whatever. But having them along really is nice.
Okay, I have to ask you because everyone says bikes are dangerous, but not because you are necessarily the bike riders. Although there's always these idiots
It's
I
the
see,
texting people and the distracted drivers.
the drivers who don't see that. I mean, so did you ever worry about?
I've yelled at a few people.
Yeah.
I'm not so nice on the road.
You
I'm
have to be.
protective.
You have to be a defensive driver.
Yeah, you always
in traffic,
have to
right?
expect the worst. I'm still here. I have had an accident. I know what it feels like.
That was
The
a
thing
long, but that was a
the
long
thing that
time
bugs
ago.
me a lot about motorcycle people is the ones that ride in shorts.
Yes, and no helmets.
And no shoe,
Yep.
flip flops.
Yep,
and
I see them.
I see that, and I just go, when you fall, that pavement gets hot.
Yeah.
And no
Yeah.
helmets. Yeah, I mean, some people, that's their choice.
Yeah.
I used to ride with no helmet, but as I got older, when I moved to California, I had to wear one. I got so used to it. And then when I didn't want to, I was like, I felt naked. I just felt more exposed. And I think it does help with the endurance part, with that wind constantly in the cold. And the elements can really beat you up.
Did you feel because you're a woman you had to prove yourself more when you were? You never felt that because some women feel like they have to.
I know the first Cannonball, a lot of guys were like, here she is, and nobody helped. I didn't ask anybody, hey, can you start my bike for me? Or I feel like you should do your own thing if you're going to be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few times when I couldn't start my bike. We did some valve work on it. It's a little harder to start this year. My husband did have to help me a few times, but that's life. I mean, I'm not a giant person.
How heavy is the bike?
It's only 250, but after you kick it about 18 times, it's not starting. I had a guy in a gas station come over. I'm like, hey, you want to start at 1915 Harley? Come on over here. And I actually showed him how to do it, and he started. It was so fun. I was tired, but I'm like, come here, let's see if you can do this. Because he was like, can I help you, Miss Lee?
That's
you meet people at the gas stations. People come over and they want to know about your bike, and it's sometimes you just want to fill up your tank and go, but I'm always trying to be nice to people.
So you can't go to the bathroom every time you want to go to the bathroom either. I just thought of that.
Yeah, you can. You just gotta hurry.
You just kind of 45 miles an hour. It's hard to hurry.
No, I go in.
It's 45 miles an hour is not hurrying.
I have a thing, like I have to drain my crankcase, so I'll get I'll get to a gas station. It's my little routine. I get down and empty. I have a little measuring cup I keep in my saddlebags to measure the oil, how much oil comes out, so I know what my bike's how it's running. So I'll empty that, I'll do that, and then I'll fill it up and eat a bar while I'm filling it up. And then I can run to the bathroom. I mean, sometimes you have a little more time in your head. You can, relax and hang out a little bit. We do that, too. But I'm like, I want to just get down.
How many times, how far do you go in a tank of gas on that old thing?
It depends on if you're in the mountains.
Oh,
it's
good
flat.
point. Because you're going
60, up. Well, I actually put bigger tanks on my bike this year. I wanted to go further. I think I could go maybe 70 miles on a flat road this time. Usually it's about 50.
But you'd want to stop anyway, wouldn't you?
Not me. I'd go all day if I didn't have to stop.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
You would
yeah, but I mean,
but
after about 100 miles, you're stiff.
Yeah.
Your back's getting stiff. And,
I think you'd want to stand up and walk around. And
I do. I'm getting older now, so I'm trying. I do want to get off a little bit more than I was the first couple Cannonballs.
Do you feel like when you get off the bike, I mean, I know when I go horseback riding for hours, and it's been a while since I've done that, I kind of still feel like I'm on the horse when I get off and sleep. Do you still feel like you're on the bike while you're sleeping?
Oh, yeah. I'm still having my Cannonball dreams, too. Like
Seriously?
I dream that I'm riding at night. Oh, yeah, and it's like I don't have my directions.
What kind of dream? Your fears come out.
Sometimes I dream like I'm lost, but sometimes I'm dreaming and it's really fun.
So that's the fear one, right? Is that you're lost somewhere.
Yeah.
You don't know how to get where you're going to be going, right? That's the fear that you get.
Yeah.
You don't get afraid of an accident. You don't get afraid of falling. No,
I don't think about stuff like that.
Because
usually we don't. There's not much This year was the best route, I must say. We didn't have a lot of truck. Sometimes we get trucks on our butt.
Which are
they don't know what you're riding. They come up to you, look at you like you're riding a lawnmower. They look at you,
Yeah, and they don't know you can only go 45.
Exactly.
Right.
We have flashing lights on the back. We try to wear clothing that's bright so they can see you.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, they got to realize something's going on. These old bikes now.
Yeah, and usually people are usually really nice. Give you a thumbs up. Well, the older ladies, little girls, and when I stop, I always put the little girls that sit on my bike. When it cools down, I always put them on my bike. That's got to be
so cool for them, right?
Yeah, it is.
Have you had people say to you, women say that they took up riding because of you, because they read your book?
Yes,
and that they
I actually have, and it's very flattering, and it makes you feel good that you can, somebody can get that feeling. You can encourage somebody.
Well, that changes their lives.
It's not for everybody. I don't tell people they should ride.
Your life got changed because of...
I met the most wonderful people. Most of my friends I met through motorcycling, and both of my husbands, I have to say, and I really have met wonderful people, and I don't know what my life would have been like without that. So.
I know that I remember seeing one of your posts that I think Pat was riding with you at the time, and he was doing the Harley. It was at the town, obviously where the Harleys were being made, and there was a concert
Milwaukee,
there.
right.
It was in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
And obviously there's been a huge amount of people affected by the fact that there's been these tariffs and everything. Mm-hmm. And Harley had just literally before the concert that he was playing had decided to go ahead and move their factory.
They'd already they'd already been doing that stuff.
Uh-huh.
That's why we're kind of surprised that they got picked on.
Uh-huh.
And we actually were in Milwaukee because the Harley Davidson Museum is one of our sponsors on our Cannonball ride. I've known the Davidson family. Pat and I both have for many, many years.
There's actually a Davidson family.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
the great-grandson of the founder, Willie G. and Nancy, and then his son, Bill, runs a museum right now. And they're kind of worried. I mean, they're they don't know what their future holds. But I said, you made it through World War I and World War II, and you guys have been around, and a lot of their base is getting older. They're doing really good things. They're doing the best that they can. They're introducing, bikes that are lighter, that are cheaper, for trying to get more young people involved, because most Harley riders are probably in their 50s.
Yeah.
I don't know what the demographic is.
And older, yeah.
And older, of course. So they're doing the best they can. They're doing a really good job, and they're really wonderful people. So.
And you try to encourage them, because I can't even imagine. They actually are wondering if they'll survive. Yeah,
they're not. They don't. They're worried. It's a strange time right now.
Yes, it is.
So hopefully they'll make it through. I mean, their sales in Indonesia and great South America. I mean, I went to the 115th anniversary party in Milwaukee, and we stopped there on the way up to the start of the Cannonball, and there were so many people we met from Indonesia. Riders from all over the world showed up. And
wow.
It was really
and
cool
it's
to
a
see
family.
that.
It was an instant
Yeah,
bond.
everybody. I mean, sometimes you don't even speak the same language, but we speak motorcycle. We had a guy in the Cannonball was a heart surgeon from Italy one year, and his bike broke down, and we had a great conversation about his bike, and we didn't even speak English together.
Wow.
We just talked about certain parts, magneto.
It is a kind of leveling field there too, as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So that's really important, and we have a few minutes left, but I've got to just say also, it's so nice to see that Pat Senior, Pat Junior, are going to have a chance to play together coming up in December at the MAC, right? At the McCoy,
yeah,
right?
they played little small things together, like a couple songs, but they're going to do a whole thing together, and it's really exciting. We're really happy about it. It'll be fun.
The date on that?
December 21st at the MAC, McCoy Theater in Maui.
And I have to say, I'm a big fan of Pat Jr. His CD he did last year, just beautiful. This mountain, so beautiful. And he's a good songwriter, and he plays. Where's he playing around?
He's played at Fleetwood's last night. He plays at Cafe de Ami on Fridays.
I love that in Paia. What a wonderful little cafe that is. I love that.
He's playing the Made on Maui thing. I think he's been invited.
Oh,
to
is
play
he?
on that.
I love that.
And different events, the Fourth Fridays and all that kind of stuff.
I have to say, you raised him right. I mean, there's something about your family that is so real and so authentic, and Pat carries that. Pat Jr., hard work and really great values, and he kind of carries on that whatever is real. It's not affected, and you can see in the pictures you post of him and your family the love that's there.
Yeah, he's great. He's a good kid. We're very proud of him. Our other son, Josh, is awesome, too. He's in school. He works with autistic kids. He's kind of the unsung Simmons, behind-the-scenes guy.
How old is Josh?
Josh is 31 or 32. How old is Josh? I was there when he was born. Let me think, 32. But he works with autistic kids. He's in school getting his degree now. And he's
that's
just
great.
Very awesome person, too.
We're going to keep talking, but I'm going to finish up the Facebook. I want to thank everyone who did join us on Facebook there. Because I just wanted to, before we close it out here, we have about a minute left. I just want to remind everyone, I'm going to be leading a group of people to Ireland. Have you been to Ireland before?
I have.
I love Ireland. I was there a couple of years ago, and I fell in love with it. And this is going to be staying at the castles. We'll go to Dublin, and then we'll go to Castle Martyr, which is owned by Sir Walter Raleigh, and then we'll head on down to over Killarney, where the Killarney, Ring of Killarney.
I have.
There's the Gap of Dunlow there. We're going to stay at the castle in the Gap of Dunlow. Then head on over to this castle I stayed at before. It was so gorgeous, the Dromoland Castle. It's on hundreds and hundreds of acres, and it's just a fabulous place. And then there's the Cliffs of Moher there. Did you get to the cliffs?
I
on
did.
The West
My
Coast?
daughter actually went to school in Ireland for a semester.
You're kidding?
Her daughter, Lindsay. Hi, Lindsay.
Wow, how cool is that?
She's an archivist. So she's
Seriously?
a historian. Yeah, she's into history and stuff.
Oh,
too.
wonderful. Well, if you're interested on this one, folks, you can pick up, I have brochures here, and you can call Kathy Takushi at 244-1414. And 244-1414, go to captivatingjourneys.com to get information on that one. We only have till, I think, the beginning, December 10th to get you signed up for that one. But I'm looking forward to going back to Ireland. It's one of my favorite places in the world. They love music.
The people are wonderful.
Oh, they're wonderful. The people
The music
are
is
fabulous.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Cris, for coming in. It's been great talking story with you here. Aloha.
Aloha, thank you.